Alrighty.
Is it a bumper or are we going straight?
Red, are we live? Can we open with bumper? Or are we live, or what are we doing?
11 o'clock was live, so we're live.
I got you.
Okay.
I think we're live, though.
I'm live right now.
I believe. Let's see. There's a 2-minute delay. Somebody would have to ask Michelle. Can you ask Michelle, are we live? 2-2. All right, we're live. 2-2. 2-2. I'm talking.
Welcome, everybody in the virtual space
2-2.
to Technology and Truth P1. We got a live studio audience. Welcome everybody. Come on. Wherever you are across the world, we are so excited to have you. Our studio audience who registered, who are in the space, are here at New Birth in our MPR studios. This is Technology and Truth Summit P1. What I need you to do is I need you to grab, text, engage, and share, not with just church people. I need you sharing with anybody who's in the technology space. What does technology look like? I'm talking about creatives. You know, graphic designers. You got graphic designer private groups. You have chats for web developers, app designers. This space is for you. You're an entrepreneur. You're an individual who has a business. You are a corporate executive. You're in the marketplace space, and this space is for you. And if you are a church, you've watched New Birth for 3 years. You were in the space 4 years ago where Facebook was the devil and YouTube was its cousin. And all of a sudden, the pandemic hit on March 15th of 2020, and then you decided that you could save the devil and turn him into the Holy Ghost. Yet, you still haven't figured out what this technology thing looks like. It scares you. You're in it and you want to know what's happening next. This is us innovating the summits. Because generally a summit is a day, 2 days. But because we're New Birth, we decided to innovate it and put you in the position where we have a summit literally all year long. This is the first of 4, and it will happen every quarter, and I'm excited to have you. So we're getting ready to do something amazing. In our audience, on the left side, they're going to worship and go to our YouTube platform. On the right side, they are going to I like it, give it to me. On the right side, they're going to Facebook. What I need everybody to do, I want you to know that your influence is your greatest technology. So I'm going to do something for you. Everybody that's listening to me and everybody in the studio audience, I need you to get your device. And if you are YouTube, I need half of you all online. I know you, I pastor you. I need you, my Facebook crew, my ride or die. I need you to do one thing if you are Facebook. Facebook is over here. I want you to now go live on Facebook where the New Birth page is. So you're going to the New Birth page, you're gonna go live. You're now gonna see that in a guerrilla standpoint, we got a whole slew of people just in the audience going to the New Birth live broadcast right now on Facebook. On my left side, I love it. There we go. The left side is going to YouTube. YouTube, I'm so excited to be with you. I want you all now all logged on to both platforms. Now, once you're there, this is your next assignment. Share it to, if you're a Facebook person, share it to your Facebook page right now. If you are on Facebook, that means you need to share it not to just your page, but you can share it to your stories. If you're on YouTube, you're gonna need to copy the link. You're gonna copy it and you can embed it into your Facebook page. Facebook, all you gotta do is share it, and when you see share, you're gonna see it gives you options for put it in your stories, put it on your page. Do it in both. Once you do that, and everybody online doing that, I am going to test you on this experiment and show you the benefit of it. Now, if you're at home, you need to share it onto your Facebook text the people, text the people in your phone. I just need you to text 3 people. This is not just me talking to you. It's going to be impactful to what we're getting ready to do. Text 3 people that you know don't understand technology. Give them this link. When you share it on the page, tell them that we're about to grow right now. Now that you've done that, the last thing we're going to do, if you have a phone, I want you to go live on your phone on one of your pages. So go live and just say, you know what? I'm live at New Birth. Start your live and then watch how influential you are to people that you're connected to. This ain't church. Nobody gonna judge you. You can actually pull your phone out. You might not be able to do it at your church. You can do it at our church. Pull your phone out and go live on Facebook. And now tell people you live. I want you to start your own broadcast. Why is this important? Because you're more influential than you realize. And you now need to let people know what you're doing. The camera is watching you. I need you sharing. Go live. Tell people where you are. And we're getting ready to jump right into technology and truth. I'm going to give you a few minutes. I see people. Camera, get these people going live. They influence people. They are now showing people how to do this. And they are increasing visibility at the same time. Now, the funny part is, while this is happening, there are some people that don't know how to do it. And nobody stopped to help them. So put them on your live who you sit next to. Let that person know we getting ready to go live. We're going live. See, there we go. Come on. Be influential. All right, now tell them you're about to log off and just stay on your page. While you're there, like, share, tag. All right, everybody, turn your live off, but stay on our Facebook and our YouTube pages simultaneously. Now, let's get right into this. Why are we here at Technology and Truth Summit? Here at New Birth, what we realized is that there is a unique favor that is rested on us based off of our angel apostle, Bishop Eddie Long. He was the first pastor of Internet and Innovation to me. You can give that a hand. He was an individual that you cannot overlook the success that he put in place. This building is almost 30 years old. And can you imagine how far in advance he had to be to innovate something like this? It's one of the few churches that I'd ever engaged in that had literally won daytime Emmys for their broadcast week to week. Taking Authority was so futuristic that it shifted how we saw church. And then God blessed us twice. Then gave us an individual who was getting ready to celebrate 4 years, Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant. You got to put your hands together for Dr. Bryant. Somebody who was not afraid to be innovative and was comfortable bringing other innovators with him. The truth about this is your major challenge in ministry and in business is that your technology is not winning because you're selfish with your sharing. You got to understand that one of the biggest mistakes that we make in technology is eliminating our influence and our connections. Relationships are the currency of life. And many of us are broke because we don't build relationships, we burn them. So in this reality where we are, technology is getting ready to shift us. And you saw what we did in the pandemic. And whether you gave us credit for it or not, you bit off of it and said it was my idea. You turned around and said, I don't like it, but I'm watching. We thank you. We bless God for you. Why? Because when you are influencing and innovating, you cannot be concerned about people's perspective. You have to consistently stay focused on the goal that God has given you. So today, we decided that we would pull the curtain back because you've seen the hands of individuals, you've seen the gifts of individuals who have done things in this ministry on a global standpoint for the last 3 years, but you didn't know their faces. And we decided to break this down so that we were not a selfish ministry. We were going beyond Sunday morning to share with you so that it impacts everything you do in every space of life. Why is this important and why is this a big deal? Because when you look at the last 3 years, you can't imagine that you lived through a pandemic. I want you to think about the fact that for 3 years, from March 15th of 2020, that was our last Sunday in the sanctuary until last year on Good Friday. Can you imagine for 2.5 years, the church lost its biggest commodity, they lost the building. And God forced all of us, whether we were entrepreneurs, whether we are in marketplace ministry or the mainstream, he forced us to live beyond our comfort. You watched us go from barbershops to art galleries. You watched us walk over the bridge at Selma. You watched us have watch night with just us. You don't know what it feels like to have grown up in black church all your life. Then watch night was the experience where it was packed out. And the first time you are pastoring these people, you get assigned on December 31st, 2019, and then December 31st, 2020, it's you and the people that got assigned to you. It changed how we did so much. You had to now consider, do I focus on an executive pastor or co-pastor, or do I need to hire a creative director? Do I need to get another bass player, or do I need a social media manager? You went from working for people that you hated to now leaning on the creativity that God gave you. But the truth of the matter is, most of us had no idea what we were doing. So, after these 3 years, some of us are experts, some of us are novices, some of us fall in between. Today, we're going to pull the curtain back, and at the table of truth, we're going to talk to you in the audience of myth. And we're going to bring you closer to the truth so that when you leave here, you know exactly how to maximize and use technology at your highest level. So I'm going to tell you again, welcome to Technology and Truth Summit P1. Put your hands together wherever you are. So we cannot do paper and pass out flyers at Technology and Truth. So we have a text to connect number, and we do what we call manifestos here. In a manifesto, what our goal is, our senior pastor creates a vision around September. And we as an executive team start to buy into that vision. And we add our areas of collaboration. We churn it out. We think through it. We argue. We debate. We fuss. We disagree. And by November, we have a document that gives us our entire year in a glance. It's called a manifesto. We want you to know what that manifesto looks like. So pull out your device and text. The number is 71441. 71441. I'm not taking it for granted. You say, I don't know how to do that, Pastor Ross. Where you get ready to text somebody's telephone number, it's not going to be 10 digits. It's going to just be these 5. 71441. And where you would type the message, you're typing Techno Summit. Techno Summit. All one word. You'll see it on the lower screen if you're watching me. Techno Summit. TECHNOSUMMIT. Once you hit that, you will get the manifesto in its digital format. Why is that important? Many of us spend money in business that we don't have to. The technical world has allowed you to save money where you used to spend it. You're killing trees. You're finding out that you're passing out stuff that people dropping on the ground. You're still passing out business cards. And everybody you're talking to is going to lose your card but won't lose their phone. make sure that you have this, and we want to engage you and invite you in. So now that we've set this up, we are right where we need to be. I need to give you some terms so that we're all on level playing ground. And this will help us move directly into this space. The first terminology that we need to understand and define is one called technology. Shout technology. Everybody that's online, I need you typing in technology in your comments. And I want this on the screen. If you have that definition, I want you to see this definition of technology, because this is going to set us up and put us in a place where we're going to be majorly successful. Do we have that? All right. What we're going to do is, these terms are going to be so important, because on the ground level, if you don't understand the terms, you'll misplace its perspective and its point of view. On this screen, what you'll see, technology, let's go back. Go back. There we go. Everybody, I'm going to do like my old pastor would do. He said, pause at all commas, stop at all periods. We are going to read this together aloud. I'm going to count it. 1, 2, 3. Technology, the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes, especially in industry. You didn't even know that was the definition. It's not a device. It's applying knowledge. You only apply knowledge when there is a practical purpose for the industry that you're in. Why is that important? Because technology can be a device and a thought. It can be words and a point of view. So let's talk about technology. One of the things that we had to do to be technological, to move and focus on the church, is that we had to change the terms. So in the church, what you keep forgetting is we speak a language that only we speak in church. If you didn't speak that language and didn't go to church, you don't understand. You're talking about the doors of the church is open and all the doors closed. You do realize in most churches, a church is the only place that the back door is the front door. So you're in a space where you're saying terms that don't make sense unless you go to church. You're literally telling people to come to Jesus, and he ain't here. Join the church, and you don't have a process. So when you're talking a global language, the technology is to make it global. So we now say connect. We say partner instead of sow a seed, because many of us don't even understand agriculture, so we just embraced it because we are the individuals who understand the culture. We need you to shift and understand that your technology is your knowledge that you're getting ready to implement in the industry that you're called to. The challenge happens if you're not called to an industry, but you're trying to implement knowledge with no purpose. Say it slow. It's a challenge when you don't know your industry, you're being technological to implement knowledge with no purpose. You're now confusing people instead of advancing them. So now we got technology. Second word we need to grab, marketing. Everybody shout marketing. Marketing is such an interesting word that the American Marketing Association has redefined it 7 different times. This is the most recent definition of marketing, and I want you to see it on the screen. I'm gonna read it for you. Marketing is the activity or business of promoting and selling products or services, including marketing research and advertising. Let me break that down. There's a lot of words. Really, it's an exchange for value. So, Miss Kizzy, my homegirl, let's just say I wasn't married. I am married. This is just hypothetical. It's hypothetical. Please just understand. We just being hypothetical. Please don't go on social media and say he got a side chick. No, this is just hypothetical. Just say I saw Miss Kizzy. I was single and I was interested. I literally want to be in a position that I believe I'm beneficial to her. I now can come and offer my humanity, in exchange for her telephone number. It doesn't matter how good I think my product is. If she doesn't exchange anything for the value I have, no marketing happened. I just had a good product that nobody wanted. Marketing at its core is an exchange for value that you have to create. So the 4 words that will help you understand this definition in its simplest format is the psychology of satisfaction. The psychology of satisfaction. It is you now putting people in the position that you think and know how they feel before they do. So you say, well, how is that possible? I'm churchy. That's not biblical, preacher. It is. Marketing's term comes from Proverbs. It's one of the most misquoted passages in all the Bible. It says, as a man thinketh, most people say, so is he, but the passage actually says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Whether this is Moses, Solomon, or Amenetes, what they're trying to convey is that as a man thinketh, that is his psychology. In his heart is his cardiology. So is his anthropology. So what the passage is saying, as you think, that's how you believe. In your heart, that's how you behave. So is he, is what you become. So what is now happening is you have connected the mind and the heart to get people to push in a space that they wouldn't go if you didn't know how they thought. So now you have to be an innovator of what they need before they know they need it. And when you tell them they need it, they go, oh, I needed that. Forgive these people if they know not what they do. I'm setting it up so we can have this great dialogue. This is making sense. Third term. Let's get on the screen. Stop playing. Y'all play too much. Next term, Brandon. I think it's Brandon next. We're going to set this up and we're going to have a great conversation. Is this helping you already? Do we have the next term? Brandon, if you don't have it, I'll still set it up for you. Let me help us understand. It's the promotion of a particular product or company by means of advertising and distinctive design. But what you have to understand, a brand and branding are not the same. A brand is an experience with and information about a particular topic, idea, or line of products. This is the key in that term. Experiences with and information about. So if you don't give a great experience and they don't convey great information, you don't have a brand. I know I lost you. Why is that important? Because many of us think our brand is what we said it is. It's really what they said it is. Because the experience they had with you and the information they got about you determined what kind of brand you had. So the key here is, don't tell me you have a all-inclusive, engaging ministry for youths and young adults, and your young adult choir's average age is 67. You can say it's your brand, but the experience is with you, and the information about you doesn't match. So now we've got branding, which is the engagement of the marketing and the brand, now putting you in a space where you create a brand image to engage those hearts that you started with in the beginning. Final term is innovation. Now that we put this piece in place, you now have this piece to now develop and digest. Make changes in something established, especially by introducing new products, new methods, new ideas. So this is going to push us into our dialogue for today. I don't know if you realize that Vernon Rudolph was a guy that you probably don't know his name, but you know his work. He was an innovator in 1937, and he innovated what was a Dutch introductory item 10 years after you found yourself in the Great Depression, where people are hungry for food and they need it at a cheap price. And he realizes in Chicago that as he was smoking his cigarettes, when he looked on the back, it said that the Camel cigarettes were made in Winston-Salem. The only industry that didn't suffer in the Great Depression was cigarettes. It was a vice. So he said, if they can maintain all of the cigarette warehouses, it's best that I start my innovation there. And he took his brother, who was a practical mind, and found a recipe that he wanted to introduce to America. His recipe was unique because it had a creamy base that when you added potatoes to the creamy base and then infused the dough and fried that creamy dough with the potato that helps it melt in your mouth, the cream along with the friedness would create a crispy delight. And they called the company Krispy Kreme. And he decided that he was going to lay it over with a glaze. He realized that if he's going to expand, each donut would have to be made the same everywhere. So he created what he called the Ring King. This Ring King made all the donuts have the same ingredients, same size, no matter whether you got it in Birmingham or you got it in Boston. The problem was they were only selling to grocery stores originally. And when they're there making these donuts, the people in the cigarette factory smelling the donuts being made and on lunch break, we're still in the depression, they want a donut, but their model was only for the grocery store. He's seeing money walk out. He's innovated how to make the donut. He's innovated the ingredients, but now he says, I can't get it to the people because our model doesn't match our revenue. So he gets frustrated and takes a sledgehammer and knocks a hole in the brick wall. His brother says, what are you doing? He says, I'm innovating the walk-up window. And the next day, they start making donuts, and the people see it coming down the conveyor belt that he innovated and realized that they were more excited about watching the donuts being made than purchasing the donuts. So now he's got their mind and their heart. So he creates what he calls donut theater. That if you watch it, you buy more than 3, you buy a dozen. What innovated as a necessity changed our lives, and many of you are struggling this morning with your 40-day fast because of an innovation from 1937. Can you imagine if he was too afraid to break the wall down? Tonight, this morning, this afternoon, whatever time you're watching us, we're not just gonna make donuts today. We're getting ready to break your wall down. So, I'm gonna introduce you to the panel of experts that I get a chance to work with literally every day. You believe that these people are just church folk. These people are marketplace masters who happen to work in church. So you say, well, you're the pastor in that innovation, it's just you're a preacher. No, this is marketplace work. Remember Jesus' template for disciples, he didn't go after preachers. He went after marketplace masters and entrepreneurs. So to make this thing work, you need both sides of it in the 21st century. I want to introduce you to Adam Legester. Adam, I need you to put your hands together for him. He's going to introduce himself, but I have to do this for each one of these guys. I'm the Steve Harvey to their Kings of Comedy moment, and I want to bring them on because I want you to understand the value of investing in smart people. Adam is not just our AV guy. Adam is the voice behind the voice. What does that mean? You hear people, but you don't know why you hear them. Somebody had to turn the mic on for you to hear their voice. If you've ever watched Steve on Watch, the person that makes sure the mic is right online is the gentleman sitting here. He does AV literally all over the world, but every Sunday, every Tuesday, he's making sure that online you hear as good as we sound in person. Adam Legester, everybody. Muna is like Cher. She only needs one name. And if you don't have some young people on your team, you are missing the margin. Mona is everything social media. Whatever you see posted online, it came from Mona's hand and Mona's heart. I need y'all to put y'all hands together real good. She's gonna have this conversation and have this truth. To my left is an amazing gentleman. Claude is this guy who you've seen his work for years. You've seen him create the visual, but you've never seen his face. Claude is that dude that everybody needs to know, but nobody wants to pay for. Claude has been putting you in a place where you don't do clip art, you actually speak to the visual by making sure the visual matches your verbal. Claude Hamilton is a creative genius that I wanted to introduce to the world, and I need y'all to put y'all hands together for Claude in this place. And I purposely left him for last. He is dressed like Steve Jobs on purpose because he is just that impactful. Vincent has become a brother, and the interesting thing is all of us in our marketplace work for and with each other. Why? Because you are always better together. And Vincent is probably one of the greatest black movie geniuses that the world will know before they die. You know Steven Spielberg, you know Martin Scorsese, but who you need to know is Vincent Powell. Everything we see on New Birth, you watched us go through Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, you saw the angles, you saw how it looks, you see these creative viewpoints, and you see this camera, and you're trying to figure out why your camera don't look like our camera. The reason that it doesn't is he is not just doing the Lord's work, he's educated to do it, and he teaches it in the academic space and in the spiritual space. This is your cohort, your panel, your church view concept, and I brought experts that we're going to have a dialogue at the table of truth. If you're ready for that dialogue, put your hands together and let's have an amazing encounter. So I need you all. Hey, man, I appreciate it, man.
I'm just wondering, why are we up here?
We're here because we're getting ready to tell the truth. And they're getting a chance to eavesdrop on conversations we have all the time.
Sure.
The biggest problem with church is we try to hold secrets
Come on.
that we shouldn't be.
Come on.
And I think the real conversation is, I don't want you to have the truth in groups until you tell your truth as individuals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the truth about social media, since we're at the table of truth. Mona, introduce yourself and kind of give them your truth about social media.
So first of all, I have to say that I am honored to be the only woman on this panel right now. Okay? It's March, it's Women's History Month. Ladies, thank you. You feel me? But I do have to say thank you to the panelists. These guys are absolutely amazing. So yeah, let's give a hand for the panelists. So, okay, see, he knows me. I don't like to talk about myself.
Make it about you.
My name is Muna Hilouf. I am from Las Vegas, Nevada. I am a first-generation Ethiopian descendant. My dad is from Tigray. Really, really cool culture, so I'm putting on for the culture as well. My mother is African-American, so I tell my mom all the time she's very special. My dad came from across the world and found you in the desert, okay?
Wow.
So I'm a Jill of all trades. I grew up around music, my mom is very studious, so I read a lot of books when I was young. Of course, in church and in ministry, that's just kind of like the space that God has placed me in. But what I love about, again, the dichotomy of my life being Ethiopian, being black, being spiritualized in what I was growing up, or how my mother raised me as far as like church, and then my dad just being kind of free-flowing and spiritual with like the wind and the earth, is the balance that it brought. And I believe that that is what social media does. It gives you the opportunity to show your authentic self. it is very important, as he said earlier, that your brand matches who you are. One, for longevity, right? And two, because you're gonna pull in an audience based on what it is that you're pushing out, right? So we'll get into all of the ways that you can do that in innovation and just making it easy to explain. But the truth about social media is it's about you. You have to try all the things. Try to be funny, try to be serious, try to be witty, try to be whatever, until you find what matches or what fits your brand and pulls out your authenticity, and that again will bring your audience, which of course converts to like sales and all of those things. Sorry, y'all.
No.
All of the words. But yeah, so that's the truth about technology and a little bit about me.
Let's give Moon a hand, y'all. As you're online, I want you to realize that you can't see them, but you'll see them. In the corners in both spaces, we have our social media team. They're generally with you on each service. This is important because they're engaging you. And the reason they're engaging you is it is a church online. I want you to realize that you have a business online. You have a brand online, and you can't do this yourself. So as I'm pastoring and being Dr. Bryant's image in the virtual space, we have ushers here, but you're gonna need them online. So we have greeters online. These people greet people on every platform and just telling them, hey, we're grateful that you're here. We got you tuning in. We got security here. We got security online. Why? Because you got people spamming your platform. You got people putting profanity and putting wrong information on there and trying to disrupt the service. You need somebody with the spirit of blocking.
Listen.
These people in the back, that's what they do. You have counseling ministry online. You have people who are just there to pray with you. You have intercessors. Why? Because we have to make this virtual space as impactful as the physical. This is your first truth. Don't use this virtual like it's not real. This thing is more real than even your physical encounter because you can only reach so many people in the real space. No matter how big you think New Birth is, we cannot seat 49,000 people. But anytime we go live, there is no capacity limit. You need to be able to shift this and see the truth about who you can be, not just who you see yourself as being. So now we've seen the truth of social media. Yes, sir. Get out of my way, Adam. I'm getting ready to give you the truth about graphic design. I want Claude, who is a team member of my company, and I'll tell you a little bit about that, but he has his own company. This is what you got to shift with in the 21st century. People are going to support you as long as you allow them to do them. I see y'all. I can see y'all online. I see the faces you're making online. You want people committed to you. You want them to build yours, but you don't want to help them build theirs. The truth about technology is this generation is not about working for you for 30 years and walking away with nothing. I'll help you as long as you help me help me. So Claude, tell us this truth about graphic design, because there's a lot of lies and myths going on. Introduce yourself and give us the truth about graphic design.
Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? Let me tell you about myself and then get into the truth. My name is Claude Hamilton. I am the creative genius, aka I am the creative genius. And
that's important. I am. That's biblical there.
And I have a company called Creative Genius Studios, which is a branding and marketing company right here in the great city of Atlanta. And I work with some amazing people, some of which I do see in the building today. Good to see you, my darling. I love creativity. There's nothing, I believe, for me that I can't do. I believe if God is omni, then why can't I be multi?
Oh, that's good. Say that again, Claude.
If God is omni, then why can't I be multi?
Wow.
So I'm a multi-hyphenated creative. There's nothing I can't do. It's just a matter of let me put my hands to it and let's innovate, brand, market this thing to another place. The truth about graphic design is this. You cannot do it yourself, number one. Number two is you absolutely need to hire a professional. Number three, you need more than one flyer to support your campaign. Hallelujah to Zion. Adam said slow down. You need more assets and collaterals to properly place everything together to make a complete sentence. Your selfie does not work for the cover of your book.
Wow.
Amen. What's going on? Amen. It doesn't work, right? You need to have properly retouched pictures so that we, as the designers, can take your product or your assets, put it on a canvas, and create what is called a graphic design.
Yeah.
The last thing is this. You absolutely have to be clear with your intention. If you don't have clear intention, then you're communicating a blurred sentence to your creative. Everything you're doing from this day onward has to be seated and rooted in clarity. The reason why you can't get clear about the money you want to make, about the market you want to serve, is because you will absolutely have blurred vision.
Wow. So we starting off like this?
You asked for the genius, he's here.
God bless you. God keep you. This is my prayer. You all see what kind of day this is getting ready to be. I got to give them the intros. It's a group chat in person.
In person, yes.
So now we've done the truth about social media, the truth about graphic design. Adam, give me the truth about production and sound.
After that?
After that.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, you said rooted in clarity.
Adam.
I just need my bad. Yes. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that when it came to production and sound, which is probably one of the things that are most misunderstood in the word in the kingdom, that we had a clear understanding of what it is that needs to be done well. You know, one of the things that I think is often we've never really believed that proactivity is necessary. So to be proactive versus reactive, there's no way that we could do everything we do here without talking. And we don't just talk once. We don't just talk twice.
Yeah.
And group chats, oh my God, we talking at midnight because something's always changing. So there is a level of proactivity that's so necessary that often I think gets missed. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I spoke about in regards to this, and I didn't really think I needed to do an intro because, but proactivity in production is necessary. And when we say proactivity, down to how we built this room, this room particularly here, down to paint colors were necessary. If you look in the room now, you'll see that we use particular type of paint so that it would not be reflective of sound. We use particular type of paint so that it would not be seen, so it's not reflective. Yeah. So that we're able to say, okay, when we put all these black curtains up and we put screens up, you can't see the walls. You used to be able to see the walls because they were gray, they were white. It was a nice room, it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and said, okay, well, beautiful room, black it out.
Yeah.
So once we blacked it out and we put everything up, if you see behind the cameras now, you can't see anything. Those kind of things are necessary in production. So then when you think about it, it was about planning for us to be able to win, right? So when you say planning says, if I'm going to be able to talk to millennials, Gen Zs, Gen Alphas, which we're at now, we have to be able to present in a way that's just not allowing us to take for granted their loyalty to the kingdom, right? Because if you look at it, one of the things when I first started in production is said, okay, well, God, if I do this, I want you to be just as influential or just as presented just as well as I would present Beyonce, or at that time it was Mariah Carey. I'm a little older.
Right.
I'm
Right, tell the truth.
Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston and all those people. So when it came to really doing things for the kingdom, it's like, well, God, why can't we do things right? And I came from a church that the sound man was a deacon who just kind of
We having the
You know,
truth. We telling
I'm
the truth.
talking about it.
Yeah.
Let's have it. The Salmon was a deacon who just kind of got thrown in there who could afford the board because his father had one in the garage.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, he's going to take that for the church
Yeah.
and do that. So I was growing up in those kind of churches and I didn't really see anything about production. But then I would watch things on TV and you got singers with things in their ear. And you got singers with speakers on stage. You got singers doing things that sounded great.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm like, well,
If they're doing that.
if they're doing that,
Yeah.
Why are we not doing it?
why aren't we doing that?
Come on.
So then I said, okay, God, I'm going to learn because I'm going to do it for you, but I'm going to get the knowledge. So the church wasn't really teaching me like that. Oh, but wasn't it though? Because then I transitioned to New Birth. When I transitioned to New Birth, I was like, all right, they want to do things. So they were trying to do great things. So they were planning to win. When we were building this building, we were at Snapfinger, and I remember when we were talking about building this building, the issues that we had at Snapfinger, we wanted to fix here.
That's
And we
good.
fixed them. To where 20 years later, everything we were working on, we're still using, and even the conduits. When we say conduits in production, they're pipes that you send to different areas of the building so that you can pull things out, put them back through.
Yeah.
Churches were not building that.
Yeah.
They were more interested in marble on the floor than it was putting some pipes in the wall so that you can get Ethernet cables and other things through places.
Come
But
on.
then again, we had to add all this
Yeah.
stuff. All right, so I keep saying those kind of things, and and then when you talk about church, and you talk about doing things in a particular way, in the industry, when you have a system is only a system if all aspects of it are working the way they were designed. And often you have production that we've all been to church where the mic kind of broke, or some of the light work, some of the lights don't, or half of the system works, or it might be too expensive to kind of. But then, truth be told, it's not a system then. So you wouldn't drive your car if one of your tires are flat.
Good. It's good, Adam.
You wouldn't live in your house if your air conditioning didn't work in the summertime.
Good. It's good.
So there's just things that you wouldn't do. And then after you start getting good and all those things, and I'm talking a little longer, so please forgive me on my time. But you're looking at me like,
Wild.
We're going to tell the truth all day, huh?
listen, I'm gonna tell you. So then, you start getting through all of that, and then it's like, so then we said we was gonna be honest. So in production, we gotta be honest. So then when you start growing into those kind of levels and you start doing those things in church, then when it comes to talking about having the level of proficiency, it costs.
Yes, sir.
Right? But then also, it not just costs the church, but if you're learning, it costs you your time.
Yeah.
So, I coined this wonderful phrase because, we have what we call minstrels, which minstrels are people who, of course, in the Bible it's talked about you play the string instruments, but then also converted over to actually playing any kind of instrument.
Yeah.
Well, then I said, this desk is an instrument.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
These lighting boards, these computers are instruments.
Sure.
So we're production minstrels. So if you're a production minstrel, this is all a worship for you.
Absolutely.
Right? So if this is a worship for you,
Wow.
you are to study to show yourself to be approved.
Wow.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So to put Deacon JoJo
Just because.
to do the sound,
Wow.
huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
Then
Don't
you
make no
wonder why you couldn't keep up in the pandemic.
Wow. So,
But you have to.
I need some of this for this next segment.
My bad. Hold on. Okay, you're right. You're right. Cause then I said I wanted to go before Vincent.
Yeah, because Vincent is.
Because I said I want to get right for the apostle of creativity. But then you realize production, everything we do here, right?
Yeah.
It all matters. It all matters. If the lights ain't right, if the sound ain't right, if the things we're doing aren't set up well, you can remove creativity out the way.
Yes, sir.
Because if your paint colors are not correct, there's no way for you to paint a portrait.
Can't get there. Can't get there.
So we are your paint colors.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when I think about production and sound, get those things right so that we can paint the picture of Christ well.
That's it.
Jeez.
That's
Now
it.
you better
No,
talk.
no, no, no. That's it.
Sir, go
That's
ahead.
it. That's it right there, Doc.
Those are all my notes. Those are all of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we
All of
offer
them.
Christ to you.
Oh, my brother.
Literally.
Sir.
I think it's important. We're starting with church and we're going to branch out into your businesses.
Sure.
But you've got to see that this is not a side gig.
No.
Eat, sleep, and breathe.
You got to eat, sleep, and breathe excellence.
Yeah.
Why? Because the truth about your technology, nobody would be tuned in online. Nobody would show up on a Saturday if every experience you had with New Birth was mediocre. If it was hard to hear all the time, if it didn't make you uncomfortable, if the message didn't rub you the wrong way, if the encounter didn't make you go, well,
It's all right.
there's, if it make you want to say it's not all right when in your heart you say, man, that was hot.
Sure.
If your business doesn't match God's kingdom, you're not doing kingdom business.
Sure.
So now that we're having this, I want to bring in Vincent because he's the mortar between the bricks. Because when you're talking about creative, visual, and storytelling, many of us only see that in movies. We don't see that in ministry. Realize that God is in the entire Bible telling a story. It's a divine love story. God is the lover. We're the loved. Now, if God is serious about storytelling and you're representing him and your church never tells a story, are you operating on behalf of God or are you operating on behalf of your mediocre excuses? This is why Vincent is at the table, because he shifts us from the excuses into the reality.
Yeah.
Vincent, tell us the truth about creative, visual, and storytelling.
Please talk slowly so that I can
I need you to have your pens and your pencils out. If you got a pen and a pencil, if you are taking notes, don't miss the excellence in front of your face. This is the most serious moment in this encounter. If you're online and you haven't shared, if you are not following these people, don't miss your moment. What this gentleman is getting ready to tell you is going to shift every component of it. Vincent, give us the truth, sir.
I'm a millennial. Born and raised Houston, Texas. I'm born in 88. I'm coming into knowledge of existence 94, 95. And while that's happening, we've went to a place where television has turned into a 24-hour news cycle. We've gotten to the place where presidential elections start to cost hundreds of millions of dollars to pull off. We've gotten to a place where pharmaceutical companies have figured out how to guarantee money from the government by lobbying on Capitol Hill. And in order to get to the consumer, they figured out how to use commercials. At the same time, you've got Ted Turner and other powers that be deciding what to do with cable. HBO comes onto the scene. HBO says, you don't have to come to the movies. This is your home box office. My mother and father were amazing in their own right. Still together, still loving, still my sons, Mimi and Pawpaw. They built a household where academics was important, but self-expression and art was also important. And at some point, HBO is trying to figure out, what do we do to fill the time between the hour and the half hour? When the movie goes off, we don't have a lot of in-between elements, because this is before there were entire YouTube pages dedicated to interviews with actors and directors And so what they did was they said, let's just put the behind the scenes up between the movies. We can't put a black screen. We can't put a bunch of trailers. So after Jurassic Park, let's just show the behind the scenes. I'm coming into myself, 1993, 94. Jurassic Park is finally out of theaters. It's at the home box office. And I'm sitting there watching grown men play with toys in front of lights and cameras. And I'm saying, is that the movie I just watched? I'm seeing them take a scale model of the Titanic and break it and put it in a tub and put a camera underwater to play with the model in order to achieve a special effect. I'm saying, is that what I just watched? And something sparked off in my mind that I never have been able to put to rest. The fact that we'll walk into a dark room with 300 other strangers, pay $20 these days, $30, $40 these days, to subject ourselves for 120 minutes to watch people we've never met and will never see, take us on a journey. And if they don't do it the right way, we become disappointed because we're there to laugh or cry or be scared. The issue is when you go into a movie to cry and they make you laugh, you're like, something's wrong. If I'm going to laugh and I cry, something's wrong. Now we're critics within the seats, but we're with strangers and we're on a journey to sedate ourselves from the reality that we're in for a moment because all we want is a story.
Good. Good.
You see what I'm saying?
Set this up.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
You see what I'm saying?
Set it up.
All we wanted the whole time was a story. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme. From fireside chats on the radio back to in the seat of creation in Africa, where all we had was words, then symbols, still etched into stones that you can find around the world. Ancient archaeologists can look and find story. They can't tell you how currency was transacted. They can't tell you about medicinal solutions of everything, but they can always find story. They can tell you that the moon always mattered, the sun always mattered to every single society. And then we fast forward to where everybody has a phone, everybody has a platform, everybody has a channel, and the issue is very few people know how to tell a story.
Golly.
Good.
And so Instagram and Facebook fools you into thinking that you can tell a story because you click the button and it says add to story.
Good. Good.
But the truth is, most people don't know how to tell a story. That's why we get excited when we say in the beginning. Because stories have to have a beginning, a middle,
And an end.
and an end.
Oh my God.
In order to facilitate the beauty of a story, if you don't know where Cinderella starts, the glass slipper at the end of the story doesn't matter until you know the beginning of the story. And what you really like as an audience is if, as a creator, we can take the story and put it out of order and flash back and flash forward. But regardless, if you never knew that Cinderella's entire name is why the story matters, is that she used to be around cinders because she would clean up fireplaces. You wouldn't care about the fact that she made it to the palace to deal with the prince, because the prince only mattered because she dealt with dust and dirt. But now, as a storyteller, I could turn the room and say, I know another person who dealt with dust and dirt. I know another person who reached down into dirt and made a story out of something that should have just been filth. But I'm not doing that. Have a seat. Have a seat.
No.
Have a seat. We're not doing this.
No.
Have a seat. I'm just talking about why story matters.
Told you.
Right? It's why it matters. Because I, as a storyteller, have to be able to reach into the recesses of your mind. This is where Pastor Ross took my notes.
Yeah.
This is where he took my notes, because as an innovator, if I can't figure out the question you're asking, I cannot figure out how to be the answer.
The question you're asking.
The question that you're asking and pondering as an audience, I can't figure out how to be the solution to that
So good.
if I'm sitting there asking the same question. And that's where innovation separates from reality.
Yeah.
Because as an innovator, you say, hey man, you know what we should do this weekend? We should rent out our apartment for our friends. You send it via an email as a joke in 2009. And then you look up 15 something years later, and now Airbnb, done been through all it's been through in the last couple of years. Airbnb is a huge mega corporation.
Yeah.
You joke with a friend over a text message about, hey, we should pay people to drive them around town. I'm tired of taxis.
Yeah.
And now Uber is a thing. We know what it is now. It's an everyday term now. But 17 years ago, when they're talking to Silicon Valley investors, they're ahead of the game because what Silicon Valley is saying, everybody has cars. They don't need you. And they're saying, no, we're imagining a time where. And then they open up industry for
Yeah.
Postmates
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Uber Eats.
Yeah.
And now we don't have to leave the house at all to facilitate our entire living, all because somebody said, what if? And not what if with hard ramifications,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
what if with
Yeah.
the open-endedness. But the issue that we have in our community is we don't get to dream with open-endedness budget.
Come on.
So we subject ourselves to what we can afford.
Stop it, Vincent.
Is that Pastor Carey?
That is.
I know that's so good anywhere.
Anywhere.
Dr.
Hold on,
Turner.
let's stop right here. Hold
Listen,
on, I need to stop.
We gotta stop.
No, I gotta take a pause.
Gotta take a parenthetical.
This is our 60-second moment. I am so serious about telling the truth in here that I'm
Sure.
going to interrupt this moment.
Absolutely.
Why? Because some people you need to honor
Absolutely.
in their moment of success.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So she's my sister
Yes, she
before I
is. Yeah.
got to New Birth.
Yes, she is.
And I have been able to journey with this young lady and watch how she handles criticism,
Absolutely.
how she handles her calls,
Sure.
how she deals with challenges, and how she honors Christ. And she showed up in this space, and what you don't realize is that she helps us push together all that logistically makes sense so that what we do when you see it on Sunday was not just the will of God, it was strategically and well thought out.
Sure.
And she argued her dissertation. And she is not
In this way.
Pastor Turner.
Come on.
She is now Reverend Dr. Cariana Turner. Everybody in technology and truth, stand up and honor our pastor, Pastor Carey, Dr. Carey Turner. Thank you so much for being here.
Reverend Doctor.
Listen.
Reverend Doctor.
Just if I could just have 2 seconds.
Two seconds.
To land it.
Reverend Doctor.
Love you so much, Pastor Carey. The three questions I want to pose, because I did have.
I know you
Just
were
three
doing it.
questions.
I did that on purpose.
No,
'Cause you-
it's fine.
You were making my spirit.
I wasn't going to lose my place.
Sheesh. I couldn't take it no more. I needed a break. I needed some
commercial
trail
break.
mix or something. I was frustrated.
Not going anywhere for a
I
while.
didn't going anywhere
Grab
for
a
it.
snicker.
It's 12 o'clock though.
The question is, what is your story?
Yeah.
Who's your audience? And then how do you get to them? Right? And so when we're talking about branding, marketing, technology does not change your story. It changes the vehicle that you
Yeah.
get the story to the audience.
Absolutely.
Right? You can do it as a novel, you can do it as a movie, you can also do it as a commercial. The story is always the story, right? What changes is the method that we do it in. So we used to go from MySpace, where you'd code your whole social media page yourself, to Facebook, where there was some kind of paradigm there where you could still build it out, to Instagram, which streamlined it to just photos and bio, all while Twitter was staying text only. And then Snapchat comes and says we're video based completely because Vine was successful. If you didn't have anything to say on MySpace, where you had to code it yourself, you still don't have anything to say right now on Instagram. And so if you don't understand your own personal story, and sometimes we don't know that because we're afraid to talk about it to ourselves, that's why Scripture says we overcome by the power of our, okay.
Tie it in.
And so you have to talk to yourself enough to know your testimony, to know who you can expertly talk to.
Tie it in.
Because you can't talk to everybody.
Yeah.
You got to figure out your audience,
Yeah.
zone them in, and say, I only want to talk to people who want donuts
That's
in the middle of the day.
Good.
Y'all got to give them a hand. Come on now. So, hold on, wait a minute. Nope, you about to go off left. Hold on for a second. You going left. I see it happening. I see it. I feel your spirit bubbling.
It's coming.
This is the truth. So, what I want you all to hear as we get into the second hour of Technology and Truth is that church is no longer focused on their heart is right. Why? Because this is not about heart, this is the head process. Understand that each one of these people are doing it in the marketplace to bring it back to the ministry space. And the challenge that we often fall into is, as I help you understand this marketing, this branding, this strategic development, and we put those terms in place, many of us don't believe that we can afford to be excellent in Christ. This challenge forces us to have a poverty ministry in a lavish space with a ever-present and overly wealthy God. Think about where you are when they marketed the car you drive to you,
Sure.
the house you live in. There are very few of us who could purchase our house cash. It never stopped you from dreaming of living in the neighborhood. You got to realize that the marketing deals with your head and your heart.
Yeah.
So let me give you Consumer Behavior 101. Everything in the world that is marketed and is on a retail shelf, 87% of it is tested on black women.
Sure.
If black women don't purchase it, they don't sell it.
Sure.
Secondly, there is a color psychology that goes along with that because colors in certain industries evoke people to do things that they can't control. Let me test you right quick. Every fast food restaurant you've ever seen, the signage is red and yellow. I see some of you looking at it in your head. You going McDonald's, Wendy's, they're all red and yellow, not because they like the color, but together those two colors psychologically make you want to eat food fast.
There's a chart for that.
There's an actual chart for this. These are the practicals. It is not just making you want to eat, it makes your mouth salivate at the same time. So when you look at the French fries that you bought from McDonald's that were not potatoes,
Right?
they were so specific to you that on the inside of the empty box, it's still striped yellow so that when you look in there, you want more fries.
Yeah.
There is a psychology to everything. So when you want the color of your sorority on the flyer, you want your favorite color on the promo, you literally could be stopping your target from reaching because you don't understand the psychology of what is going to make them do what you're getting ready to verbalize.
The word of the Lord.
Literally.
The word of the Lord.
Jesus is not dying on a cross without letting you see the blood because the color evokes commitment.
Yeah. Ooh.
Literally, you got to see that the visual that is being painted, Adam just talked about it, is on a black backdrop.
Yeah.
He didn't want any other reflections but his son.
Sure.
So he darked it out so that you couldn't pay attention to who's hanging beside him. You have to focus on who's in the middle. Why is this important when we're talking about marketing and branding? because you could do a great job for your personal brand and it not be a great idea for your professional brand.
Yes, sir.
Can we talk about the difference
Yes,
though?
sir.
Yeah, we're about to talk about it. And the reason that this is important and we got to set it up is because I believe and realize we have in the church people who are stuck to the Bible. So I want to address it. That marketing ain't in the Bible, branding ain't there, neither is social media, innovation, or any of these concepts about technology. Since we've done the definitions, let's just go where we are. We're in Advent, or we're in Lent.
Sure.
In this Lenten season, Jesus has a 3-year ministry
Yeah.
and never goes more than a 300-mile radius.
Sure.
His whole ministry is 300 miles in a circle for 3 years.
Sure.
The branding here is he brands himself as the counter to the culture.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You want to go to church, I'm doing everything outside the church. You want denominations, I'm telling you I don't want to focus on denominations, I'm focused on people. So Jesus says, to know what my challenge is, I need to put people on my team who are already experts in the field. So if I'm going to heal people, Luke, you're a doctor. How many people in Judea suffer from palsy? How many people in Samaria have leprosy? Why? Because the analytics help him know what to target when he get to the region. I got an accountant on my team. So what's the financial circumstance of the region? So I need to know, do I need 5 fish? Do I need these 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread? Why? Because if I meet their need, then I got their commitment.
2 seconds.
Yes.
2 seconds, though. 2 seconds. Because Jesus could recruit the creme de la creme
Because he
because he
is the creme de la
was, like, you don't have to be an expert and know it all enough, but in order to facilitate the respect of people who are respected in their field, you too have to be someone
in your field.
that are in your field, open enough, elevated enough, learned enough to say, hey, here's where my expertise stops, and now I've got to lean completely on yours. But you respect me because you realize I'm already in the book.
And I'm staying with you because I see your
There we go.
expertise, so I want to
There we
connect
go.
mine to yours. They
There we
have
go.
no problem
There we
walking
go.
away from their boats
There we go.
to get with him as a
There we
captain
go.
of the ship of Zion.
There we go.
But it's the supportive nature. You got to realize it's the supportive nature of each person who has their mastery.
Absolutely.
If you have a mastery,
Say what you just said slow though. If they what?
support
Have their what?
mastery.
They have to have mastered their market
Absolutely.
to make it work in this
Absolutely.
market.
Yes. Absolutely.
He literally says you can't be a pastor if you ain't even mastered fishing and that's your craft.
That's the piece.
So social media kicks in because if I'm only going 300-mile radius, Facebook is already there before we get to Mark Zuckerberg.
Sure.
Why? Because every city he goes in, they know he coming before he get there. The social circle in the former city spreads the word to the upcoming city
Yeah.
and says, let me be PR for this dude. Y'all don't know who he is,
Yeah.
but he coming. Cancel your workload, get off, because social media, his brand, his branding, his marketing strategy, and his innovation make us have to ask the question, I know we were looking for this, but what we got here, I think this is what we needed instead of what we were asking for.
Sure.
With that being the question, now that we deepen this truth, let's kill some of these myths.
Sure. Sure.
Does cost matter to people in ministry and the marketplace? Can you do what we're talking about cheaply? Number 2, does the Bible conflict with what we're doing? And when the people pay and buy in, the headache that they're receiving is often because the people they are paying are not qualified to deliver.
Real quick.
So now let's have this conversation.
Let me jump in because I thought about it when Claude was speaking, and it comes to mind a lot. Cost is relative, of course, right? Everybody's budgets are different, everybody's reach is different. The issue that I have as a creative is by the time they need video or graphics or website, the money's ran out on the publishing of the book and the photo shoot, and we built the website, and we got the patent, and we bought the T-shirts, but we need a little commercial real quick. And the issue there is
What kind of commercial they need?
A little
that
one.
you
A little
a little commercial.
Do it again.
They say
Do that one more time. What
They
kind of
say-
commercial, Vincent?
a little commercial. If I could just get a little, one of them little things that you do, one of the little commercials. And by that point, what Claude is trying to reach is shot, and what everybody else has to do in it is shot. And so when you're talking about like story consultation and PR and elements that have to be elevated, you have to be building up both of them at the same time. When I'm getting a budget from a studio or from a network, literally I say, man, 40% of this has to be marketed.
Yeah.
The minute they give me a number, I say 40% of this is literally going to be spent on ad buying, commercial buying, portfolio building, and all that stuff. And then I say 10% going to my company. Take care of self. All right. Don't do that part too. And now, how do we make this for the other 50% that's left over?
That's the proactivity part of everything, though, right?
Yeah.
That's the proactivity. And then if you think about it, if you have mastery with proactivity,
Sure.
I can plan things to be cost effective, right? Because think about it.
Yeah.
I have seen people be able to turn a complete low budget situation, but because of their mastery, they were able to allow it to look amazing. I remember when I first started out, I did a project with a young man who shot in complete everything on a Canon T6, right? And I thought he had one of those cinema cameras. But his main thing, he understood lighting.
There you go.
He understood position. He understood key. He understood all those. So the mastery often makes things a little bit more cost effective. Sure. So when you think about it, you say, okay, so to answer your question, can you do these things and is it expensive? No.
Exactly.
It's not expensive.
Do it for free.
You can do it on a budget, but budget doesn't mean cheap. Budget means effective.
That's it.
Budget means efficient.
That's literally it.
Because often if you say budget, it's like, oh, well, if I can get it for 100, I'm gonna get it for 100. And the truth is, maybe if you go 150, but you get the right person. 200, you get the right person.
Yes.
And you know how to negotiate. Not even just negotiate, but then you also know how to say, I like your jacket, it's really cool. Can you do this for me, so and so and so and so? Because you're the master of creativity. There's ways that you work through, because also, remember, gratitude and having relationships. Gratitude is its own form of power.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
say,
And relationships is a form of currency.
so if you say to yourself, it's not gonna cost me a bunch if I go to the person who I know can do it, instead of the teenager who's learning how to try and then exploit it. Right? I said what I said. So now you say, okay, bet. I'm gonna talk to somebody who knows what they're doing, the mastery of it, and for them to help me how to learn how to do it, plan it, and then try it. Oftentimes, if you try to move quickly, it's going to be more expensive,
That's
right? There's a social media meme that's going around. Cheap is expensive. Cheap? How's it go? There's three ways
Choose
you can
three.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
choose
cheap-
two.
Choose two.
Choose two, right?
Cheap, quick, fast.
Cheap,
I mean,
quick, fast. You
cheap,
can have any two you want, right?
good.
You want
cheap, quick, good.
cheap, quick, good. Yeah, you can have any two you want.
Yeah.
Often, because we didn't pre-plan, we turn into quick. So now if I want it quick and good, it's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
If I want it quick and cheap, it's going to take long. So then I don't have time for it to take long, so then I have to take budget. I have to have it cost little to minimal cost, and it looks like terrible. But then the thing that people don't realize, when you do that, you shortchange the vision. You
Jeez.
shortchange the dream. And how do you shortchange the dream? Because you didn't take the time to plan. Go ahead, sir.
So basically what I'm hearing is the level of my intention will reveal the level of my investment.
That's the word I was waiting on.
Who's this?
Say that again, bro.
The level of my intention will always reveal the level of my investment. If I have high intentions, with a thing.
I make high investment.
I make a higher investment with
Yeah.
a thing. If I only have a social media intention, I only get a social media investment. Problem is, you want a 5G creative, but you want a dial-up budget.
Well,
A
Well,
5G creative
It-
well,
you
for
want
a dollar?
5G.
You want
Dial up. You know
a
dial up? You don't
5G
know dial up.
creative,
Dial up.
but you
Back in
on
the
a
day?
1G system. It doesn't work.
A dollar?
Vision comes in investment. What is the dream now?
Right.
Dr. Turner, praise the Lord,
Had to invest.
had to invest
Sure.
at a high degree with time,
Yeah. There you
money,
Yeah.
energy,
There you go.
time of being separated, isolated, studying her books to achieve this high degree of level for the outcome. So now, everything now switches over to, we want the DR, we want the PhD, we want that comma, we want the initial, but we do not want to make the investment. We don't want the invoice. Here's the truth.
He's an invoice.
You don't, hold on.
He said it. He said it.
I'm a firm believer of this, and hear me very clearly. You cannot have my insight without my invoice. You can't do it.
I'm going to my car. I'm going. That's it.
You can't do it.
Wow.
Ain't no way. You're trying to get apple. You're trying to get apple juice out of an orange. It doesn't work.
Wow.
You
Hold on,
cannot
Claude.
have my
Wow.
insight.
Wait.
Slow, hold on. Let's slow up for a second.
I don't have no feet no more.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
Let's everybody sizzle down. Sizzle down. Let me explain where we are. The reason that I went through expertise, you have people who've spent 20, 30 years. This is not just us being called of God. We worked on the call. We're not, my marketing MBA and undergrad is not to brag, it is to make sure that the invoice ain't cheap.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Vincent's time
There you go.
in film, Muna's time in social media, Adam's time in AV and music, Claude's time in graphics and color consultations. Understand that the biggest challenge with innovation and technology for the people in church is connected to the reality that God has called all of us to be entrepreneurially driven through purpose. The problem is, purpose was too complicated for you, so you sacrificed your purpose to fulfill somebody else's. So they gave you a job description. And they said, since you cannot find your purpose, I am going to sell you mine and purchase yours at wholesale. And I'm going to turn around and mark it up retail. So now when you want to finally push your brand, push your ministry, because you were cheap with you, you want to be cheap with people who can make you more valuable than you are. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, God has called us to invest in ourselves. You are not going to get the church, the business, the video, the mindset, the brand. If you do it cheap, you're going to look cheap. If your ministry is too small to see yourself bigger than you are, remember they said, we are grasshoppers in our eyes. These grasshoppers are definitive of how they saw themselves. Do realize that the giants didn't see them because they were so focused on a level that wasn't low. With that being said, this is a. I got to plug this right. Yes, sir.
Hold on.
Yes. I'll sit down. I'm sitting down.
Standing up and then stuff.
Somebody grabbed a fire extinguisher. I can't take it. Here, three things.
Sure.
Just now.
Sure.
While you're talking.
Sure.
You stood here.
I did it.
You did.
Right down.
And you said, as a man thinketh In his heart.
Yep,
What's the word?
sure did.
In his heart, so is he. Then you say, we were grasshoppers in our own eyes. And then, I'm sorry, I didn't turn my mic on. Somebody's yelling at me. My mic's on now, sorry. I was yelling amen, and I was trying to make sure I wasn't in the mix. So we say, grasshoppers in our own eyes. We say, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But then we talk about talent and treasure. And the guy that didn't invest says, I perceive you to be a mean ruler. Literally, what we've exposed is that innovation and demolition literally happens in the heart.
It's an inside job.
It's an inside job because the other people with the talent said, I have a skill set that I'll still be able to give him what he's owed, but in the meantime, while I have access to this technology,
And it's true.
these resources, I can go do more for my own house and still give him back what he wants when he comes back. And my life is now made better because of it. That's why I was done with church. I was at USC, #1 film school in the world, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Ryan Coogler, Shonda Rhimes, John Singleton. I was sitting, got my degree, directed my first film 2 months out of graduating with my MFA, had a son, I was in LA, had a place, my wife and I. My first movie starred Cheryl Lee Ralph, who's now Emmy Award winner Cheryl Lee Ralph, right? I was done with church. Pastor Lemons had seen my work in Houston at other ministries, other venues, and he said, I need you at New Birth. I said, that's great, sorry, I'm done with church.
Yeah.
Because I'm done with the box
That church puts you in.
that church puts creatives in.
Stop right there, Vincent. Stop. This is important because every creative that has worked their time to gain their respect in the marketplace is often losing that respect in ministry. And this is a real conversation that helps you understand everything. One of my biggest contracts ever was McDonald's.
Wow.
One of the most impactful moments in marketing for me was doing the City of College Park.
Wow.
One of the darkest moments in my life was being minimized by a church that had half of the budget of one location's McDonald's from 9 to 11.
Sure.
And church is the only place where the word expert is a curse word.
Yeah. Or consultation.
Consultation is wrong.
Yeah.
I think we need to now look at how we are perpetrating how we see ourselves while we're saying we want people to see God.
That's it.
With that being said, I think this is a great segment and we are right on time. Have you been enjoying Technology and Truth? Come on, online, are you enjoying Technology and Truth? So we did this on purpose. I told you it was the Mandarin Express experience. So this is 11 to 1 for free.
Yeah.
But it won't be like this always.
Sure.
So this is our innovation on a summit because as I shared with you, this is the first summit that happens all year long. We gave it to you from 11 to 1 today. The people in the audience get a bonus that people online won't be able to get, but you know, as the pastor of Internet Innovation, I love the virtual space. So what we're getting ready to do is next quarter, the date that you need to mark is June 10th. June 10th is Technology and Truth Summit P2. It is here. It's not 11 to 1. It is 9 to 1. Why is this going to be important? Because I need you to bring your ministry team. I need you to bring your entrepreneurial team, the vision team that you have. You got corporate execs. You have institutions. You have nonprofits. You want to see what it looks like in a deeper dive. You are going to register, pre-register today. You know why we so good at New Birth? Because we think down the road, not just in the moment. You can go to newbirth.org right now and go under the events. And you can pre-register right now for $75 from 9 to 1, and this is going to be a dive that we will guarantee you, if you are engaged with us throughout all 4 segments, when you get to December, you will now find the plan for your technology, your marketing, your branding, and your innovation in whatever industry you're in for 2024 already mapped out.
Absolutely.
It is $75 up until May 16th, and after that, it is $95. Everybody that's listening, I would much rather not put a flyer out. I would like us to be packed with just you, because you came in the beginning. You tuned in first. Why is this a big deal? We are not going to just have conversation. We're going to introduce you to innovation that's not out on the market. So this will have vendor opportunities. So talking to you all who are vendors, who have software, who have technology that you want to get in front of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, you can now be in this space and make this transition. Well, you say, $75 is a lot. How do you go through everything we just went through in the first hour and a half and then play yourself cheap?
We just talked about it.
We literally just talked about this moment. You now have to see that the success of your next step, all of us will tell you, didn't come for free. The excellence, the education, and the insight we receive is when we put our skin and our resources in it. And when we walked in those doors, those people said, since you paid, I know you're supposed to be here, and let me share. This is now what Mark Moore calls, it's not what you pay for, it's what you price for. And many of us are pricing ourselves out of our next moment. So I need you to go to newbirth.org, go under the events tab, register. Don't just do it now. I want you to do it right now. So now that we've done that and you said you enjoy it, I want to move to not Q&A. We're innovative. We're getting ready to do Q&T. We're about to have questions and truth. In that space, I want you to start thinking about it online. Our team is online. They're going to be grabbing some questions. But I want to show you what you're getting ready to get. I want to bring up a gentleman who is getting ready to shift perspectives in a moment, because I don't want you to just think we're talking about technology, but I want you to see some technology. He's going to be coming up in a moment. And as we set up for the Q&T, we put a question out on social media last week, and it was through a video. It was an AI video. If you saw that video, raise your hand. Anybody saw the video with the black girl and the black guy, and they were talking about join Pastor Ross for the Technology and Truth Summit, and you looking there and you saying, man, she looks like she off. What's wrong with her? That was strategic because it wasn't a real person. She was artificial intelligence. When is it that you can see these moments and this technology happen? You need to realize that it's not just for us. It can literally be for you. These sessions throughout the course of the year are going to help you get to this point, but I wanted to give you something that will make all of the questions make sense. So I want you to, I'm building you up to ask your questions, because the last segment is all Q&T. You got it? I want to introduce to you this gentleman that's going to make sure we see technology in real time, and it's not just happening in Silicon Valley, it's happening in Black America through Black excellence. Nate is an amazing guy, and Dr. Bryant, I gotta stop. Let's just give our senior pastor an amazing hand, because he allows us to do this. He allows for excellence on his team, and he allows us to open up our doors and become transparent.
And supports it.
And supports it.
That was the last part of my note.
And that's where we're about to go.
Was like
The
reason I
support.
came back was he's open enough to support and be excellent.
I
and
tell
lead.
people everywhere I go,
We got to get to
you
that.
want to know how to do innovation, marketing, branding at a high level. The reason most people can't do it is because they're too insecure with self to invite people who are smarter than them. You won't be able to be successful if you're intimidated by others. Your innovation is going to stop with you if you are the circumference of everything that you're doing. In this moment, Dr. Bryant was talking to us in the executive staff meeting and told us about Moolah and told us that there is a black company that decided to bridge the digital divide. And they decided to be innovative and operate in technology to the point that they created a tablet that sustains its own Wi-Fi. Secondly, the tablet is only for people who operate in the public assistance space. So you generally are in this space where you said, I couldn't afford the technology, I couldn't do this. They are only giving it to people who have public assistance. In that space, as long as you can prove it, they have been so innovative that they got the government and the Biden administration to finance it. And they have 200,000 tablets. Let me give you this. The tablet not just allows you to play games and have Wi-Fi, but in the new birth space, when you open it up and you qualify, it takes you directly to our Sunday morning broadcast. You got to get out of hand. It's marketing. I want you to see all the terms that we put in place. Then, when you download an app that you would pay for, this is American Express in reverse. There are not just benefits to being a member, there are bonuses to being a member, because they've worked it out where every one of these individuals who have these apps are now giving money back after you've purchased it, and they're not giving it in a coupon. They are putting it into a bank account from a black bank that you don't even have to open up. The app opens it up for you, so while you're spending, you're earning. And it's all innovation and technology. We want you to be able to see it in real time. We don't just want to talk about it. We want to show it to you. Nate, we are so excited that you changed your schedule to be here for this. Ladies and gentlemen, from South Africa to South Carolina, I need you to put your hands together for this excellent mind of innovation and this amazing organization, Moolah and their rep, Nate. Come on, put your hands together everywhere. Come on, let's celebrate black excellence, everybody. Nate, talk to us, sir.
Microphone on?
Yes, sir.
It's on. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Nate Jabbar. I'm actually a native of Atlanta, and I feel I'm very pleased to be back in New Birth. I'm a Southwest DeKalb graduate. And when
I love it.
When Pastor Eddie Long was on Snapfinger, he prayed over my football team every single year that I was there. We were successful many years up under his ministry, and I was able to go to college and get education, and a New Birth played a big role in that. So to be back here is a big deal for me. Wow. I want to thank Mr. Ross as well as Mr. Powell, because I spoke to both of them yesterday, and they gave me some confidence to be able to come and sit in front of you all and present what we have. And of course, I want to thank Pastor Jamal Bryant, who just gave me opportunity. I met him personally about a month ago. He gave me opportunity to take him to dinner and present what I had available for him. And he did not hesitate, which in most of the time, people of his caliber, sometimes they do hesitate, but he did not hesitate, and he has sent me on a mission, like he said, from South Africa to South Carolina. In the last month, I've been almost that far on Pastor Bryant's blessing. So I want to put that out there first. Just to give you all some background information, the name of our company is Moolah Mobile. The owner and the innovator of the company is a young gentleman by the name of Vernell Woods. He is a Georgia Tech grad. He sits on the PhD board at Georgia Tech. He owns many technology patents in the space right now. But most importantly, what he did is he developed a SIM card that you can put into Android devices. And that SIM card allows us as a company to communicate directly to end users. So he converted that technology to be able to put advertisers on our SIM cards. So advertisers, every time you swipe our tablet open, non-invasive advertisements based on algorithms come across your screen. And once it comes across your screen, those advertisers drop 5 to 10 cents into an Android wallet that he developed for you. So like Mr. Ross just said, as you're using, you're getting paid, okay? So that innovation itself, because so many people, and we do everything on our phones and our tablets, and the advertisers have very rarely given us anything back. We've always given them something, okay? So they put advertisements up on billboards, or they put it on television. The TV is not sending me any money every time a commercial come across my screen, but now every time the thing that we use most, which is our handheld devices, every time you swipe it open and the advertiser advertises to you, it pays you for doing so. So now you can use those reward points. As you see, our motto on the box here says, earn reward points every time you use your tablet. You can use those reward points in the Amazon store. You can buy Visa gift cards. You can go to the App Store and use those reward points every time you use your tablet, okay? And today, consequentially, we're in South by Southwest in Houston, Texas, our owner, and he is announcing the opening of what we have called Moolah One, which is a bank account that you receive when you use this tablet. Just as soon as you open the box, you now have a Black-owned bank account that is downloaded on this tablet.
Wow. Nate, do we have some for the people in the room to touch and engage?
Yes, they're in the packaging. They're passing
All right.
around. So they're all out in the audience. There's about 10 or 15 of them out there in the audience. You can pass them around. I'm going to actually show you all on the tablet in a moment. Let me just finish telling you what all we do. So as announcing that today, having a Black-owned bank, one of the things that we recognize and our owner recognizes when we have meetings like this, we have meetings like this in our company as well. And Vernell Wood is only 36 years old. He's a very young gentleman, but he's been blessed and he's an innovator. And we talk about being able to draw a circle around our economics in our community. Black America spends more money per capita than any other race on the planet, okay, per capita on the planet. But very little of the money that we spend in our community is actually given back to our community. That's the reason why our school systems, our roads and grounds, our community centers, all those things are not actually being funded because none of the money that we spend comes back into our community. So this particular device not only serves as an educational tool and a technology tool, but it's a financial tool. We're creating a blockchain of users that we can actually trace the amount of money that is being spent in our community. And once we trace that amount of money, we now can leverage that information and have big box stores, the government, taxable revenue, force it back into our community. And if it's not given back into our community, we can now go directly to the powers to be and show them on paper and through technology that you all are not fairly investing into our community. I heard Mr. Ross earlier say, we were talking about how the government and elections and things like that determine everything on technology. Well, now we've got to start really making those decisions based on finances as well. And our device allows us to do so. So the way to qualify for our device, we were subsidized fully by the Biden administration. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program. It started under the Obama administration, it was extended under the Trump administration, and Biden just put $66 billion back into the program again. So in order to qualify for the program, if you're on some form of government assistance, obviously SNAP, WIC, affordable housing, any of those programs qualify you. Our senior community, if you're on Social Security or if you're a veteran, a spouse of a veteran, that qualifies you for the program. But most importantly, what we've done is we have the ability, if you go to a Title I school, and almost every school in the urban community is a Title I school. So that opens the door for almost everybody. The household and the family can actually qualify for a tablet. Not only do you get a tablet, you get 12 months of free connectivity. So you don't have to pay for any connectivity. It serves as a Wi-Fi device, it's a cellular device, so you can subsidize that in your home as well just by having this in your home. If you renew with us, we'll give you a new tablet every year because our innovation continues to grow, and we'll give you 12 additional months of free connectivity as well. Okay, so the program has been guaranteed for 4 years. It was extended for 10 years, but it's guaranteed for 4 years. And Pastor Brian and I have partnered for that term. So we're going to be being able to give this out to anybody, and almost everybody here will find a way for you to qualify to get the tablet into your home. Okay, I just want to give you all a little quick example of how the tablet works. As you can see on our home screen here, we have all Google products on our home screen. Okay, so we have YouTube already downloaded. We have Gmail, you have your maps, you have Duo, we have a front and back camera on here. What you do is, when you get the tablet, you swipe right. And then this screen comes up. This is your platform for you to generate your money. When you go onto this platform right here, you just register. When you register on this platform, it asks for information, name, address. It asks for gender, date of birth, zip code, things of that, because that's how we create the algorithms to advertise properly to whoever's using the tablet. If you have seniors using the tablet, you have senior things that actually advertise to. You have young people using it. We have advertisement that advertise to them. Once you go on here, just by opening the tablet up, just doing this right here, rewards points drop into your Android wallet. That's how simple, just by opening the tablet up. So you don't have to do anything. You don't even have to really pay attention to the advertisements. Just open it up, an advertisement will come across. You can go on to whatever it is you're going to, and it drops reward points into your Android wallet. You can convert those reward points, again, like I said, to use in the Amazon store. You can convert them to buy gift cards. But most importantly now, as of today, as we launch our bank, you can actually deposit those reward points into your Moolah One bank account. We will send you a Visa debit card, and you can use those reward points as cash.
That's awesome. Wow. Give that a hand, y'all.
So I wanted to give some examples of how important that is. If you have 10,000 tablets into a urban community, and you can earn between $25 and $50 a month on the tablet, that's just depending on how much you use it. If you can earn $25 to $50, that means that 10,000 people, you have $250,000 up to $500,000 a month being spent in our community. Over a 12-month period, it's $3 million to $6 million that's being spent in a community. Wow. That is taxable revenue that we can trace, and we can get that money back into our schools. We can get that money back into our neighborhoods, get our community centers back open, okay, get our roads and grounds back together, make sure our police and fire departments are funded, make sure our hospitals are done, okay? We can get that money back into the community. I wanted to take some real quick minute, and I want to go over some things that the panel said, and I want to kind of bridge it all together with what we're offering. We talked about technology. One of my favorite books that I've ever read in my life is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And the reason why is that as an innovator or a businessman or entrepreneur, a lot of times the fear is my idea going to work in the community I'm trying to serve? And in that book, he talks about synthetic imagination. And synthetic imagination just really means taking an idea that's already been put in place, such as when the caveman invented the wheel. 10,000 years ago, the caveman invented the wheel, and there are wheels and tires being sold right now today, and profit is being made. With this device, Vernell Woods, he didn't do anything special. He didn't recreate a tablet, recreate an iPad. He took the same technology, but as synthetic imagination, he found a need in the area that needed to be serviced, and that was being able to communicate directly, leverage advertisers, and pay users. So he just took a regular tablet and put an idea on it, and that's how we're marketing it. Then they talked about marketing. Then it says establish a platform where users can benefit from their consumption of advertisements. So now we've established a platform where when we're consuming information, we can benefit from it, which is what we need to make sure we do, leverage our ability and our spending habits in our community. Then it talked about innovation. Convert rewards points to gift cards. Use them in Amazon stores. Now you can deposit those reward points in a Moolah One bank. Use a debit card in a black-owned bank. That's innovation. Then it said, we talked about, the gentleman said, if God is omni, why can't I be multi? Most people use their handheld devices to search Instagram and Facebook, and that's it, and talk on the phone. Okay? Now you can use your device to generate revenue that you can subsidize into your monthly revenue stream in your house. Mr. Spaulding spoke about being ahead of your time. Vernell Woods, 36 years old, has invented something that's ahead of its time. and we got to give him praise for that. Then I heard you can't have any insight without an invoice, okay? So most of you all probably have Apple products in your hand. Don't deny our product. If you want something that's going to invest back into your community, get our product and use it. And lastly, I just want to thank Mr. Ross for giving me the opportunity to be on this technology summit. And I heard him just say there's $75 for the next summit, right?
Yes, sir.
Is there any way that we can get a technology summit on our platform? They can earn $25, $50 and use that money to pay for the technology summit coming up next month.
Yes, sir. Let's get out of hand. Yes, sir. Let's give Nate and Moolah Technology an amazing round of applause.
Thank you. We appreciate the time.
Nate, you can stay here, man. I want to move into this last segment. I am going to call some of my social media team up. We're going to take a couple of questions. In-house, don't you all worry. The benefit of you registering and being able to be in proximity is we're doing a 30-minute after party. And for the next 30 minutes, when we go offline, we're going to take your questions and address them in real time. I want to take 2 or 3 questions. Did we have any questions that we needed to cover online? Jatavia, anybody? Are we good? All right, so I tell you what. I want to go into this last segment, and I want to allow each one of us to wrap up online with a closing truth. It has been an amazing day. You got to give God glory for this awesome platform, for you all jumping into this space. And I want to go around the horn. Mona, you have been yourself in this space, but I want to give you a voice in this moment to give us these closing moments of truth. Each one of us takes 60 seconds. Nate, you are included, and we'll go around the horn, and then we'll wrap up. Thank you all online for your consistency, your insight, your love for us. We appreciate you, and we are getting ready to do more with you. Let me tag you to know, if you're in Chicago, we're trying to come to Chicago the week leading up to Resurrection. I need each one of you. If we have a lot of people in the Chicago contingency, just email us at I&I, Internet and Innovation, at newbirth.org, and in the subject line, just say, I'm in Chicago, and we're going to reach back out to you. Mona, let's go around the table. 60 seconds of closing truth.
So my closing truth is going to be where we're going. We've talked about where we've been. We've talked about where we are. Where we're going is virtual reality, Meta, right? At one point, of course, in the evolution of things that exist, there has always been some sort of contention against it because you don't understand it. You need more information. You need more education. What social media is about, and again, they said it throughout the entire segment today, is that communication, that marketing, that branding, but really it is that social connection in a virtual space, right? So I would say, again, where we're going is Meta, where we're going is virtual reality. Don't fear it, embrace it, right? We have to be, as it's been said several times, the leaders, the pioneers as Christians in these spaces. What's going to be important about us connecting to Meta and using that, using social media for our just values and connection points is, again, creating the conversation, steering the conversation so that Christ is seen in these spaces as king, right? Some people say content is king, but Christ is king. And we need to show that. We need to spearhead that. We need to pioneer that in the coming changes and innovation. So that's my social media truth.
Thank you so much. VP.
I think to your very point, the one thing that I was going to mention is when I talked about that what if with the open-endedness of it. AI, we mentioned the ad that we use for this very event. And the truth is that that's not going anywhere. There are all sorts of litigations and lawsuits right now because Hollywood is now in position to be able to bring stars who are deceased back from the dead to star in new movies or TV shows. And the question is, if I own the IP of Robin Williams' voice as the genie in Aladdin, can I bring Robin Williams back to star in a new Aladdin sequel that's coming out? Where is the line at? Where does that find at? or what defines it. And so you have people that are going to be the audience to consume it, but also there are people that have to be the critics to talk about it, to actually circle the conversation and develop the thought to share with people. But then also there are the people that are the innovators that are going to invent the technology in order to do it. You're either going to be the audience, you're either going to be the critic, or you're going to be the innovator.
Yeah.
You've got to figure out where you want to be in that. The money is only in one position, right? The money's in one position. What happens if Dr. Stokes or Dr. Turner, that's an amazing point that way to say
love
Turner.
it. That's
My
good.
God.
Yeah.
But what if they had a book and they knew that the market that they are able to get to is black women easily, but they have content that could translate to an Asian market? Well, now they can get an Asian AI character, develop that character to read their copy that they've written and release that in their language on its own platform. What are the limits? Where do they stop? Where do they start? I don't have an answer for you. I only have encouragement for you to peruse and push yourself to the limits to where not being a part of the solution, be part of the question. Somebody else will solve it.
I love
be
it.
part of the question.
I love it. Nate?
I want to speak from a financial standpoint. Technology right now technology has made more black millionaires and billionaires that we don't even know about right now.
Absolutely.
Our company has been endorsed by Robert Smith, who is the wealthiest black man in America. And what we have to understand is that throughout our history, we have been exploited as a race financially. And technology will do the same thing if we do not come to more summits like this, if we do not teach our children, the next generation, and we can't forget about our seniors as well. We can't just let them go by the wayside because pharmaceutical money and hospital money, services, that's a big part of our economy. So we have to recognize that technology is just as much a financial institution as it is a social or entertainment institution. So I just encourage everybody here, if you, they had my email address up there, it's nate@moolahwireless.com. If you have any additional questions, if you want to receive a tablet, if you have an organization that wants to partner with us, young people, old people, doesn't matter to us. We just want to connect everybody through our technology space and recognize how important it is as a financial tool as well. I appreciate it again.
Thank you, Nate. Adam?
So one of the things that is so pivotal about everything we talked about is everybody has a passion, everybody has a dream. And there's nothing wrong with figuring out how to be proactive so that you can plan to win.
Yeah.
And often when it comes to us doing something like this, we take this kind of information, we digest it today, and then we kind of return back to our old ways of thinking. And honestly, when it comes to doing this level of business or ministry, if you take the time to be consistent in excellence, then your insight will provide your invoice.
Yeah.
And often it gets to the point where nothing ever, this is technology. So you're always changing, you're
Yeah.
always increasing. It's continually improving.
Yeah.
So there's always something to learn. So if you're in the place of thinking that if you're in a ministry or a business and you are not trying your best to make sure that you're sharp, reinvent yourself, think through things, then you might have already been outpaced. So that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we talked about. And we'll talk more after when we get to the after party. But often when it comes to what we're doing, do your best to remain proactive. And when you're proactive, remember your circle. If you have a circle of proactivity, passion and purpose is easy. Wow. That's it.
Thank you, Adam. Claude?
What I would say in this moment is you are not without an answer. You are absolutely without an action. The action that you take today can become your achievement for tomorrow. I know we said a lot. We've just only scratched the surface because it's deep, it's wide, it's everything that it can be. So take a moment, as he's eloquently said, inspect your vision, spend time with the vision. What is it? So by the time we come back in June, we can start implementing some things there so that you can see some change that you want to see, right? I love y'all. Thank y'all.
Let's give them a hand, everybody. As we are wrapping up, I don't want to overlook one of the greatest technological innovations of all time. It is the ability for a God who is operating in another realm to have the opportunity to offer us his experience where we are. God has literally been in Wi-Fi so long that he literally doesn't have to leave where he is, seeing that he's everywhere and his connection is always good. That he decided that no matter where you are, what region you're in, no matter what has disconnected you from me for all the time that you have been operating outside of me, my connection is so strong that I'll offer my connection to you to get you closer to me. Before I go, as the old preacher would say, another further, I don't want to go anywhere else without offering Christ to you. Why is this important? Because some people tuned in for technology and found truth. And I'm going to have an invitation to truth for you. And the great thing about technology is you don't have to walk down the aisle. You just pull out your device and go to joinnewbirth.org. You're not growing where you're going. You're looking for a change. You're looking for a church. You're looking for a community. You're looking for Christ. Christ is still the answer for the world today. So on a Saturday at a technology summit, wouldn't you like to have the testimony that I met Christ in the most unusual space, not in a sanctuary, but at a summit? Again, I don't want you to just do it now. I want you to move right now. With that being said, we still in church. Don't be a dash and diner. To be back in the day, you get in high school, get in college, you run out of money, you go eat, and then you wait for them to go get the check and you run out without paying. You've dined sumptuously for free tonight, today, this afternoon, this morning, based off of where you were tuning in. And I'm asking you to sow back into a ministry that you clearly know is good ground. Amen. You pulled up and saw thousands of cars, and our pastor, Pastor Carlos Stokes, was out there feeding the community and watching the King's Table shift. You have seen technology being pulled back. No church you've been to brought you what you needed, not just for Sunday morning, but for Thursday afternoon. And I'm asking you where you are, wherever you are online, to sow a seed. If you are a tither, the beauty of technology is God blessed you yesterday and you don't have to wait till Sunday to give it back to him. There's an opportunity that you got something today more than you expected. And if you had paid for it out in the marketplace, it would have cost you triple the free that you didn't pay. I'm asking you that you sow a seed. You can literally see the prompts that are on the screen. I'm asking you to come in partnership with us as a ministry and take your device out right now and give to the God that we serve here at New Birth. I believe that there is a blessing connected to you. We are receiving unlimited supernatural help, and we're expecting God to do it 1,000 times more than he's ever done it. If you believe it, put your hands together like you're expecting God to do something amazing. Finally, I'm asking you to go to our website and register for June 10th. Don't wait till you got to pay $95. Let's pack it out before this weekend is out. You know that we've been able to give you some nuggets of transparency, and we want to go deeper with you in the remainder of the year. Go to newbirth.org, go to the events section, and register today. Have you enjoyed Technology and Truth P1? We're going to stay in the building for another couple of minutes online. I love you. I want to do something. I know that there are people who normally don't tune in to New Birth. You came because of what it was, and you're in the building. I want to give you VIP access tomorrow to Grammy Sunday. Our pastor is celebrating 4 years, and we got a pastor that's got 2 Grammys.
And we're getting ready to have a party like no other. And if you want to be in the building, you want to get the best treatment that you've ever seen in your life, and you're in this room and you say, I want to come back tomorrow, I don't want to sit in the back, we got VIP seats for you. How do I get that VIP seat? I at newbirth.org, and just say, I want to be in the building in the comment. If you do that, we have special seating for you. When you show up tomorrow, you will be a VIP at New Birth's Grammy Sunday, and we are so excited for you. Again, thank you for letting us peek into your life, your home, and your time on a Saturday. We love you. There is absolutely nothing you can do about it. And we're in the mindset that we're going to benedict you with our benediction for these remaining 40 days of this rush sequence of our ministry. And it is Deuteronomy 1:11. And I'm speaking over your life. I'm going to surmise it. You read it every day when you wake up and when you go to sleep. It literally says, may the God of your grandmama, your great-grandmama, your great-great-grandmama, the God of your ancestors from the 1800s, from the 13th century, these things that he promised them that they never received, God is getting ready to increase